to the Toy Rewind Podcast with your hosts, the Brothers Newland. Now, let's talk toys.
And welcome to Toy Rewind. I am Michael.
I'm John.
And I'm Andrew. And I got to tell you guys, it's been a week. And we're in Texas. It's been the week of snowpocalypse or snow COVID this or something. I don't know. There's like all kinds of different names. And also we have the STS guys, or most of the STS guys on with us tonight. As we're going to talk about a toy line that started action figures for everybody. We're talking about G.I. Joe, but we're talking about the 12-inch line. So we're hitting it way back in the 60s for this one. So, buckle up and let's go through this. But real quick, Nate, Larry, Jeremy, why don't you guys introduce yourself? Because I'm sure there's somebody listening that has no idea who you are.
It's probably a lot of people that have no idea who we are.
I don't know about that, but there's at least a few. So Nate, we'll start with you, then Larry, then Jeremy.
Yeah, I'm Nate from the STS Guys. Also a figure fan _Nate on Instagram. I do toy photography, so you can find me there. But yeah, glad to be here.
Hey, it's Larry from the STS Guys. You may remember me from episode 18 of the Toy Rewind podcast when we talked about the WWF superstars from LJN.
That's right.
Yep. Awesome. And I am Jeremy from the STS Guys. I said on Instagram at TXGerm, so definitely check me out there.
Yep.
Oh yeah, shout out to my Instagram. You can follow me at Nerd and Cheese because I should totally plug myself.
You should, yeah. I was gonna say you didn't mention your only.
It's kind of dirty. Plug myself.
Jeremy also has been on local news recently, so if you watch the local news, you probably saw Jeremy buying motor oil.
That was awesome.
That's Austin News? Is that Channel 5 down there in Austin?
I don't even know. I'm like,
it's
I
something,
haven't watched broadcast news like in forever. It's just I was scrolling through articles like snowpocalypse, right? And then all of a sudden I noticed a photo in one of those articles. I'm like, wait a minute, hey, that's me.
That's me.
Well, we're happy you guys are with us. Like I said, we're talking about G.I. Joe this week, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Real quick, John, why don't you run through our socials real quick so people know where to find us?
Will do, but I want to say, if you don't know the STS Guys, you haven't listened to us enough because y'all come up a lot when we're talking, so they have an idea of who you are. Yeah. But they're well worth going to listen to, so make sure you do that. Now, all right, where can you find us? Our website, toyrewindpodcast.com, Instagram and Twitter at Toy Rewind Pod. You can check us out on Facebook and join in our conversations there. We are on Twitch at twitch.tv/Toy Rewind Pod. We do stream our Toy Box showcases on Facebook and Twitch. We do have a YouTube channel, so look us up on there, and we put everything there and broadcast, or not broadcast, but kind of collect everything right there for everyone to watch if you want to watch the podcast with video. Don't forget our podcast bingo, podcastbingo.com/Toy Rewind, and then also you can email us, toyrewindpodcast@gmail.com.
John, we gotta edit your notes here because we need to add that we are streaming our streams. Our live streams will also go onto YouTube now. We also need to add in, starting tomorrow, February 22nd, we are doing our lives on Monday night with Geek Together, or on Geek Together's channel, and a couple of our channels where we're doing our toy collector showcase. And the sneak peek, Nate's going to be our first guest. So we're going to be talking toy photography tomorrow night with Nate. So I don't know why I'm plugging that now, because they won't hear this before they actually see that.
But, hey, well, at least they know that there's something else to tune into, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited for that. That'll be fun.
That's awesome. So if you don't mind me asking, what is this going to be? Like you kind of told me about it, like in the workings. I know you're talking to Nate about toy photography. Like what is this collab with Geek Together?
So we've got Geek Together. They're trying to get more content onto their channel. And what we're doing is, so we have our lives, which is our Toy Box showcases, where we're showcasing collections and certain toys and different things about that. But what I really kind of started thinking about, and I kind of talked to John and Michael about this, is we want to showcase the collectors and everybody's collections that we have in our houses. A lot of us used to have them in our offices and stuff. You'd share them, people would see them, but in your house, you don't really get to see those. So we want to share those and kind of talk about different aspects and angles of collecting with things like Nate does his toy photography. And we'll be able to look at his photography, his collection, kind of get it out there and show it. So we're going to be doing a Monday night show on Geek Together's channel with kind of working with them and just kind of showcase that. So every week we'll have a different guest, and I'm sure Larry, you and Jeremy will probably be on the list at some point. I don't know when, but at some point. So that'll be fun. We're gonna be doing those, like I said, Monday night. It's 8 p.m. Central, and you can figure that out whatever time zone you're in, because I don't do time zones. So yeah, all right. Here we go. We're gonna dive in. We've got our fun for all question. This one comes direct. Oh wait. Before we get into our fun for all question, we talked to you three STS guys are here, but Scott is not here. He couldn't make it tonight. And Michael, John, and myself, we want to show off. We have our STS Guys shirts that was sent to us by Larry. So we want to show those. We've got those. Nate's got his on. Larry's not wearing one, but neither is Jeremy.
Wonder why that is.
I'm pretty sure Scott's not wearing one either.
No, I can confirm Scott is not wearing one.
Scott
doesn't have one.
Right. So Scott and Jeremy still don't have theirs. I know this has been an ongoing segment on you guys' podcast, but it's a crossover event. So yeah, we got ours. We wanted to share them tonight. They're super awesome.
Which is awesome because I know Jeremy didn't even know that probably till he joined, and he's like, "Oh, cool! I live 5 minutes down the street from Larry, and Larry can't drop off a T-shirt."
No, I should just send out the drone and just like this drone.
Yeah, there you go. Pick it up, and I'll send it back.
There you go. Send the drone. Yeah, there we go. That works. All right, so let's jump into our fun for all question. This is a good one. Comes directly from John, being a owner of a restaurant and everything. Of course, it's got to come from him. But the question is, if you were a potato, how would you like to be cooked? I'm going to assume that's going to be cooked and served. So we'll go with that. We'll start with Michael, or let's start with STS guys. Let's start with you guys. Well, Jeremy, Larry, Nate, Michael, John. We'll just go counterclockwise around the old videos here. So Jeremy, start us off.
Yeah, no, I said honestly, I said hands down baked potato. Like I said, there's nothing that beats baked potato. You can put toppings on it. You can do chili on it. I said that you can do so many different things with a baked potato. So it'd have to be baked potato.
So what's your favorite toppings on a baked potato?
Loaded everything: bacon, cheese, sour cream, butter, chives.
Heard that.
No sour cream for me, please.
Yeah. No,
Larry?
not that sour cream life either.
I do like sour cream, but that doesn't go with my thought. Like the first thing I thought of is French fries, and then I had to go my favorite French fries, right? Because it can't just stop at regular French fries. It's got to be like the waffle fries from Chick-fil-A.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah,
waffle fries.
Ooh, oh man, you just stole mine. Darn it. Well, I was gonna say waffle fries, but
It's okay. We're allowed to have the same. We're allowed to like the same fries.
Well, okay, fine. Yeah, I'm gonna do waffle fries too, because I was gonna be. I'd say if I'm gonna enjoy a potato, I think I enjoy potatoes best when they're waffle fries.
Totally.
All right, Michael.
All right, mine's the same as Jeremy. Just baked potato with just because I get topped with all the good stuff. With the I'm a butter, sour cream, cheese, chives guy. Yeah,
At
some
that point,
bacon bits every once in a while. Yeah.
At that point, it's not about the potato anymore. It's about the topping.
It's about the topping.
Right? It's barely potato. The potato percent in that serving of a meal, it's very low.
The baked potato is like the bread of that situation.
Yeah.
You're just
It
just there for the good
creating
stuff.
something else. Yeah,
It's the vehicle.
But I
Right.
like to be a baked potato with the good stuff on top. Yeah,
The good stuff. All right.
there you
good
go.
stuff on top.
John.
So mine's kind of it's roasted in the oven. Not fried, not baked. Well, I guess it is baked, but little olive oil, salt and pepper roasted in there. You can eat them with ketchup, whatever you want to, or just eat them like they are. So,
Well,
but
not too
That's
bad.
good stuff.
kind of a, I guess you'd say it's almost a baked French fry, but they're not hard done. So, get them up fresh.
Okay. Yeah, after having those at your house the other night, I would agree with that. That's pretty good. So for me, I'm going French fries, also, but not waffle fries. That would be my second. I'd have to go with Whataburger fries. Like, ship me off to Whataburger, let them cut me up and turn me into a fry. I'm fine with that. So, which that perfectly leads into our guest question that we have for you guys. And we just simply want to know what your go-to Whataburger meal is. This is something we're doing new for all of our guests. Really, I don't remember if we started with Sully or if we started with you, Larry. I don't remember.
Not me, because not me. Must have been Sully.
So, Jeremy, we'll go back. Jeremy, Larry, Snake. We'll just go that way.
Yep. Green chili double with a Dr. Pepper shake.
That's me. Green chili double. I'm just gonna piggyback right on that. That's what I was gonna say.
The green chili double is good, but like I'm a little more simple. I just go number one, right? Just the regular Whataburger with cheese.
Really, to be honest, there's not much that you can go wrong with at Whataburger, and the number one, yeah. If you don't know,
it's classic.
Just get number one, add cheese to it, and you'll be happy. So,
it's a solid choice.
Yeah. And then once you've had that, then you can branch out to whatever you want. I don't care, but just get the staple. That's what they're known for. Go with it. And I'm not a Dr. Pepper fan. Sorry, guys, but I hear those Dr. Pepper shades are pretty good. So
Yeah, I've never had one. So
yeah.
So if you don't like Dr. Pepper, what do you like?
I'm a Coca-Cola guy.
He's a Coke guy.
Coke
Coca-Cola, just straight Coca-Cola.
or
Dr. Pepper,
Mountain
that's what
Dew.
I'm drinking right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Dr. Pepper party.
Do you like the Dr. Pepper cream soda, Michael?
I don't like the cream soda.
I don't either.
No.
I'm
I'm
not
not
a
a
fan.
cream soda guy. I don't like cream soda anyway.
I would, yeah. I mean, I don't understand why they got to mix it because it's already sweet enough, and now you add in that cream
You gotta
soda, it just
add
makes
more.
it, yeah, it takes it a little weird.
Yeah, well, I'm really glad you guys invited us to be on the Food Rewind podcast.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, if you've seen some of our latest episodes, we can talk food literally for an hour.
Yeah.
It
We
is.
can.
Yeah.
So I do have to say, I'm so much not a Dr. Pepper fan that when we go to restaurants, if they set down two glasses and don't tell us which one's which, my wife tries both drinks before I take a drink, so that I don't have any Dr. Pepper in my life.
Wow. I was going to say the Dr. Pepper shake is a very subtle Dr. Pepper taste. So I was going to say you might like it, but if you're that put off by Dr. Pepper, it's definitely not for you. But it isn't an overwhelming Dr. Pepper taste like I thought it would be. It's really good.
I need to have her try it or get one, and maybe I'll just get a sip and just try it.
Yeah, there you
that
go.
way I don't feel too bad.
And then you can say you've had it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there we go. That's our fun for all question and food talk for the day. I'm sure we'll get into some more food talk, talking about some rations or something with these GI Joes. But let's jump right into our toy talk. This is when Michael gets to, yap his mouth a little bit and tell us about the history of these toys. So yeah, feel free. If you think of something, jump in here because we know what's going on. So, Michael, take us away with some history.
All right. So GI Joe, the 12-inch line, was the very first action figure because they didn't want to call it a doll because boys didn't play with dolls back then. So they called it the action figure. So in 1963, there was a licensing agent from Manhattan named Stan Wesson. He presented an idea to Hasbro Merle Hasselfeld about having a military type doll for boys to play with, kind of piggyback right on the Barbie for the girls. But Merle ended up turning down the idea and said that they weren't into the doll business. So in that same meeting, the research and development. The head of research and development of Hasbro, Don Levine, was in that meeting as well, and he was actually a veteran. So he loved the idea, and he actually wanted to go on with this, and but he had to prove to Merle that it would have been a good idea. So what he did was he came across a posable artist mannequin at an art store. He just saw it in the window. He was walking by, saw it. So he went in and bought several of them. And then he kind of mocked it up in as military figures. And then he presented it to Hasselfeld, Merle Hasselfeld. And then he actually backed down from his from his saying that they weren't doing dolls, and told him to go ahead and go ahead and call Wesson back and get the idea going. So when they did that, they actually offered Stan Wesson offered him two different options. He could take a $50,000 and a 1% royalty, or he could take $100,000 flat out payment for the whole idea. And Wesson actually just took the $100,000 instead of the $50,000 and 1% royalty.
This is
Bro.
He didn't think it was going to go anywhere.
No,
this
he
is
didn't
part
think it was
of
going to be
our
that big.
This is a part of our conversation where we talk about who made the mistakes in their life.
Yeah.
It reminds me. Do you guys ever hear the story about the guy that owned Victoria's Secret, or at least came up with the idea?
Oh yeah.
No.
He ended up selling it for like $1 million, and that company is like multi-billion-dollar company now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, if he would have just kept that one little piece of royalty, his family.
It'd be several $1 million there instead of the $100,000. He'd have several million. Yeah.
In the 100,000 to 50,000 drop off wasn't that big. I mean, $100,000 was probably a ton of money in the early 60s.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I
it's
mean,
like
I
that
don't know.
guy who just purchased, who said back in 2013, who bought 2 large pizzas from Domino's with Bitcoin. But I think he spent like 120 Bitcoin, said on 2 pizzas.
oops.
Yeah.
Oops.
Whoopsie.
It's what, like $80,000 now?
Yeah,
Almost
Oh my God.
$100,000 a coin.
Oh wow.
Oof. Oh, it's got to kill you.
Oops.
All right.
Ouch.
I got one thing.
Okay.
Guys.
Go ahead.
So I did research for this, right? I watched one YouTube video. in that one YouTube video, I heard the story about how they met. But the part that I thought was really cool was that I think they said they met at Toy Fair, which I've always been kind of fascinated with Toy Fair, and to just know that they had a Toy Fair like in the early 60s. Like, I don't know when Toy Fair started, right? But it's right. They're like, it was, Toy Fair, which is held every February in New York. I'm like, that's awesome. Like, they still have Toy Fair. I had no idea they were doing that well.
I think it goes all the way back to the early 1900s. I think.
Really?
1910s,
Wow.
1920s.
That's awesome. I just thought it was cool that, basically the birth of G.I. Joe, right? That first conversation happened at like a really cool event like Toy Fair.
Yeah, we know from previous episodes here, Barbie started at a Toy Fair, so we know
Really?
that it goes back a little further than G.I. Joe here in the 60s.
Doing business.
So yeah.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yeah,
It's
and
quite interesting.
the Barbie thing is when they were at Toy Fair, they were overlooked because everybody there were guys, and they didn't want to look at a girl's doll, so they just kind of blew it off. Is really and
Michael,
they just wanted to keep it going. And they finally got it going, and it happened. So
Just throw this in. Toy Fair in New York started in February of 1903.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what I was about to look up. So over 100 years of Toy Fair.
That's
on it.
insane that Toy Fair, right? They can the gathering to show off the toys, what upcoming products and stuff has been going on for over 100 years. That's nuts.
That's crazy. That is weird. I didn't know that had been in existence
No,
that long.
I feel like toys weren't a big business in the early 1900s, but I guess so.
A room full of tops.
yeah,
Yeah, right? The toys sucked in 1903, man. Yeah, you get like maybe a yo-yo. Like, when were yo-yos invented? Like the super basic stuff. Blocks. Like,
Kaleidoscope.
The first event featured
Whoa.
less than 10 companies, with Lionel Trains being one of the biggest ones there.
Lionel
So-
Trains, yeah.
all right, maybe some trucks.
Yeah, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Makes
Lincoln
sense.
Logs.
Lincoln Logs.
Interesting.
All right, so
All right.
While coming up with the G.I. Joe, Hasbro realized they had to cover all the bases so that other toy companies wouldn't infringe on their idea. So they came up with the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine different lines.
Wait,
No
Spaceman?
No, there wasn't a
Space Force?
spaceman. No,
Okay.
not a Space Force. There wasn't a Space Force back then, but
I guess that's true.
yeah. So they had prototypes that were named. The Marine/soldier was named Rocky. The sailor was called Skip, and then the pilot was called Ace. But they really didn't want to go with just with different names for this one guy. So Levine was actually watching TV one evening, and he turned on the TV, and there was an old movie called The Story of G.I. Joe, and he just thought, hey, that's going to be the name of the toy line. So so the name came up G.I. Joe from that movie. So Hasbro was adamant that this was not just a boys version of Barbie. So they said it's not a doll. And actually, they went through everybody that worked at Hasbro says if anybody calls it a doll, they actually got fined. I don't know what the amount were they were fined, but they said you can't call it a doll. It's an action figure. So that's where the action figure name actually came from. Cool. Just like Barbie, there was just one figure with different accessories such as helmets, rifles, tents, machine guns. They had different uniforms. So they had that one figure, and they made all the money and everything off of just the accessories. The Barbie did the same thing. It was the Barbie doll wasn't what really brought in all the money. It was all the accessories that brought it in. Right. So, but to help to prevent knockoffs, Levine actually had them mold a scar on his cheek. So every G.I. Joe from the beginning of this 12-inch line has a little scar on his cheek. But Mego tried to come out with their own called the Fighting Yank. He had a different head sculpt, so they got around from the scar. But Hasbro also, when they molded the body, they put the thumbnail on his left hand on the inside of his thumb. Cool. So when Mego actually copied the whole body, and when they ran that Fighting Yank, they had the thumbnail on the wrong side, and that's where Hasbro got them for infringement, for copyright infringement.
It's all about the thumbnail.
Yeah, it's all that thumbnail. So
rookie mistake.
You can't patent the body, but
no.
You can patent
different things like that. Yeah. So
yeah.
And actually, it was kind of an accident that it was molded like that, and they saw it, and then Mego tried to do it and copied the body. So they thought they were getting away from doing a whole different head sculpt, but it didn't work. So, let's see. So by 1965, they added an African American figure. It was the same figure as the white figure, but with the darker plastic color in the plastic. Again, just like Barbie, they did that with Barbie. They just had the same doll. They just added a darker color into the plastic. So
that's cool. But let's back up a little bit, because before they really released them, they were talking about only releasing one of the military forces, but because I think the main guy was like, no, we got to put everything into one little deal and get this one thing going. But instead, they, like everybody, or Levine was like, hey, look, no, we need to make this ours. We need to take all four, make it right, do all four, and that way nobody can jump on this train with us.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a smart idea to, hey, let's go ahead and get everything, then no one else can really be part of the armed forces little big action figures.
I thought it was really interesting, like the amount of effort they did to get like the uniforms right and the guns right. And like Michael said, the main selling point was all these cool accessories and the extra clothing packs and all that stuff. But like they got the blueprints to get the guns right, to get the canteen right. Like everything was to scale and super awesome. And like if there's one thing I know Nate loves, it's good accessories. And they totally killed it on these awesome accessories. Everything
fit the way it was supposed to fit together and everything.
Yeah, like you mentioned and stuff. Like the buttons had snaps. It was super detailed.
The fact that they got the blueprints and even got some of these guns from the military and was holding on to them, and we're only supposed to have them like a week and ended up with them for like 6 weeks.
They took them from the museums and stuff like that and just copied everything down to scale to fit this 12-inch man.
Which is awesome.
So
like
perfect.
A lot of that stuff happens now, right? Like with the Mezco figures that Nate likes and NECA and all that. But really that G.I. Joe and Hasbro did this like right off the bat. It's pretty awesome that they were smart enough to be like, hey, like Michael said, like we're gonna do this, we're gonna do it right, and they totally did.
Yeah. Also, in 1967, they had a GI nurse figure. They had a problem with this because when it got into the stores didn't know if they should put it with the boys' toys with the GI Joe, or should they put it with the Barbie doll section. And the boys didn't want to play with a girl doll, and the girls were hooked on Barbie, and they really didn't want a military type doll. And so she never really had any other accessories added to that except for what came with the first one, which was a little med kit and some crutches, and then her little nurse outfit, and that was it. So that didn't really work out too well with this line, but they did have a nurse in there as well.
Oh, not just a nurse, a GI nurse.
GI nurse,
because because they spent a lot of time coming up with that name.
Yeah,
it's always very original names here.
Yeah. So, but by the end of the 60s, they had to switch gears a little bit because of the Vietnam War, how unpopular the military was at that time, and all that. So they had to come up with a different idea to keep this line going without using the military theme that they had started out with. Because in 1963, the early 60s, they were still kind of riding on a high from World War II, which ended like 18 years before. So somewhere around 17, 18 years before. So they were still kind of, but by the end of the 60s, they had moved into the Vietnam War, which was very unpopular. A lot of people didn't like it. So they were trying to find a way to promote this line without the military scheme. So they came up with he became the Adventures of G.I. Joe. And then in 1970, it was the Adventure Team, and they actually added some new figures. But the Adventure Team was kind of similar to Indiana Jones type things. They would go on adventures and go. You could pretend he's off hunting and looking for treasure and stuff like that. So, but with these new figures in this line, they actually sold more product. They retooled the African American adventurer, and they added a flocked version with the beard and hair. So the white guy had a flocked or a shaved version, and the black one the African American had a shaved and a clean shaven and a bearded one. I was
wondering when we were going to get to this flocked version.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are just right. It's super iconic, super like late 60s, early 70s. Like that's kind of what I think of when I think of these G.I. Joe figures. The guy with the crazy, like kind of like mini afro and the fuzzy beard.
Yeah. That was, those showed up in 1970. So they had different ones in this line. There was one with had the dog tag on them. You actually pulled them, and he would have different sayings every time you pulled the dog tag. Let's see. They came up in 1974. They came up with the Kung Fu grip, which actually was being used a couple years before in the Action Man, which was the UK version of G.I. Joe. Which the Action Man series actually ran longer, from 66 to 1984. But it was, they didn't have G.I. Joe in England over in UK. So they had this, the Action Man was what he was called. So, and they used like a European type styles with those guys.
They didn't have like ye old Britain, military over there.
No. Or the Queen's Royal, the Royal.
Hats.
Yeah.
I mean, all right. So I'm like, I didn't have any of these toys, and the only reason I know about the Kung Fu grip is because of the Sublime song "Press Me Down."
Yes.
So it's so iconic. It made itself into like mid '90s song lyrics, man.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Even past that, there's just so many different mentions of a Kung Fu grip, and this is where it came from. Whether it's be a TV show and they're talking about some toys or something like that, almost anything. This is where it came from.
I know there's
Action Man.
There's a Simpsons episode, I think, where like Lisa's making a Malibu Stacy doll. But like there's a joke, right, where the Malibu Stacy, it's talking like Spider-Man or something, right? That's all referenced back to these things too, like that talking G.I. Joe doll. Like I didn't realize that either. It's a big deal.
A lot of connections in pulp culture that you don't realize, you know?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's see where we're at. See, by the 1970s, the mid 70s, the cost of producing plastic was going up due to the oil embargo. So they were looking for ways to make these a little bit cheaper. So they actually introduced a new body style, which used less plastic. It was called the muscular body. So it was more had more muscles and stuff on it, but it was lighter and used less plastic than the original body.
So is that a 6-pack or an 8-pack? I'm just curious. More muscles?
It's probably an 8-pack on there, I guess. I don't know.
He's stacked.
Yeah. Yeah, he's pretty stacked. So anyway, they had several other introductions during this time as well. They had the Bullet Man, which was actually G.I. Joe in this little red and silver suit with a silver helmet on his head. They had he came out in 1975.
Oh, wow. He's straight up like I don't even think I've ever seen this before, so I just Googled it, right? He's straight up like almost like a superhero robot kind of
sort of, yeah.
He's very like science fiction looking.
Yeah.
I didn't know G.I. Joe made that. G.I. Joe Bullet Man.
Bullet Man.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's a really cool figure.
They had they also introduced the Eagle Eye Joe, which had a little switch in his back, and his eyes it's kind of creepy looking, but his eyes would go back and forth.
It's like that picture that follows you back and forth.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
That's creepy though. He's always
right
kind of like looking to the side.
Could you put it in the middle and actually get him to look straight? I don't know.
I don't know. They also had Bullet Man also had reoccurring enemies, which were the intruder, the strongman from another world was the bad guys for the Bullet Man. So
those intruders are weird.
They're kind of creepy.
Yeah,
they're like hunched over, kind of got He-Man
kind of like
looking
a caveman
arms.
type look.
Yeah. They're really weird. I have never seen those before.
Yeah, I've never seen that.
Are these like so? Right, you just mentioned that. Right, these are basically the villains for the Bullet Man. These are the first bad guys, though, right?
Yeah, this is pretty much the first bad guys for this line. Yeah,
because there's no Cobra Commander like right, those original ones. I don't know how you played with them exactly without any bad guys. I guess you just made up enemies like. Got Invisible Hitler going on or something, but I'm surprised it took them this long to come up with bad guys.
Invisible Hitler.
And honestly, I said all these bad guys look like hey, let's tap the Japanese toy market. Let's see what they have. Let's throw some different paint on him, and we'll call him Intruder Man or Bullet Man.
Exactly.
It's super bootleg looking garbage, really.
It is.
That's what it looks like. Yeah, it's kind of bootleg
right.
looking.
I just shouted them out for spending so much time on detail with the original line and the accessories. They totally forgot about that by the time Bullet Man and these intruders came out.
Yeah,
you can't give the bad guys details. Like they're not going to be around long enough.
It's true.
So for the first 10 years, G.I. Joe was just like we were talking about, just a generic soldier adventurer with only the slightest hints of a team concept existing. So in 1975, like we were talking about with Bullet Man and Eagle Eye Joe and all them, after Hasbro had a failed bid to purchase the toy rights to the $6 million man. So they tried to get that and they didn't. So what they did was they issued a Bionic Warrior figure named Mike Power Atomic Man. So
that is amazing.
Yeah. So in these figures here, they came with comics, which included with the figures at the time. They featured Eagle Eye Joe, Atomic Man, and Bullet Man operating together. Which was the adventure team was finally an actual team together. So they really didn't
Whoa.
work together until 1975 and 76 when they started bringing out these other figures, and they had they had little comics that came with them that put them together as a team. Yeah.
Michael, is this the first time we've seen toys come out with comics? Because I know we see it later in the 80s, but is this
as far as I've seen, this is the first.
This is the first time we've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't come across anything else earlier than this that has a comic with it. So
okay, which is a great idea. When they don't have a show yet. G.I. Joe obviously isn't a show yet because shows with toys is not, it doesn't become big until the late 70s, early 80s. So putting a comic book out, I mean, just makes sense.
And I know around this time too, I know DC Comics had a comic book series that had that was G.I. Joe as well.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got a comic book that's giving us backstory for these toys. So we know how to play with the toys. We have comic book. We've got bad guys, good guys. I mean, things are coming together.
It's crazy how when you start reading off how they introduce this line and how they try to expand it out, like you guys were talking about, you see that replicated so much more after this.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think it makes sense because if you're going to keep collecting a line, you got to have additional characters to build it out. So it's just crazy how they started figuring that out as they went. And they didn't have anybody to really lay the groundwork for them. It's more of like, okay, how are we going to keep selling figures? Let's introduce more characters. Now let's expand their backstories. It makes sense. And nowadays it's almost like a necessity in order to introduce that new line.
This is the first line we've seen that actually does all that.
Yeah.
And then when you start to get into the 80s with new lines and stuff, you see that more and more and more. And the way it's put out there, like I said, with comic books, and then then when you get into the 80s, you start getting into the cartoons and stuff like that to kind of promote it. This was something where, like you said, Nate, it was something to generate more information on this stuff. Yeah.
Really groundbreaking for the industry, like it set a new precedent.
Yeah. If you look at the lines that we've talked about that predate G.I. Joe, it's Barbie and like Lego. So I mean, Lego's obviously not giving you good guys, bad guys, and storylines. Barbie, who cares about the storyline there? She collects everything, and
the story is love.
The story is to consume.
Right.
To get clothes and marry Ken
and get a mention.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And, we talked about Smurfs too, which was from the late 50s through the 60s. All they did was have a Smurf doing a different thing, and they would come up with a toy on that. Smurf playing a drum, Smurf twirling a baton, Smurf standing there smiling. It's all the same character. He's just doing something different. So it's not really like they're adding more to the storyline. They're just changing up what the Smurf is doing and make a toy of it. So
I think the other big thing we haven't really talked about yet, which the Smurfs reminds me of, right? You said that there's all these different Smurfs doing things, but they're doing things in a molded pose.
Yeah. Right.
It's G.I. Joe, right? In the articulation, which most toys have nowadays. Right, all the joints and like the ankle joints and all the stuff Nate loves on his Mezco toys. It's because G.I. Joe did it first.
Yeah.
How many articulation points, Michael?
21, I think I saw. I don't remember writing it in my notes.
I thought they said in the video there's
21. 19, maybe it was 19.
I think it's 19 they said in the video, but that's still a lot. I mean,
for that old of a figure,
for something that old,
that's quite impressive. Yeah.
So what's crazy about that, right? So I have the picture pull up of the adventure team, the intruders. So I said all of them had 19 to 21 points for articulation. Just looking at the intruder, it has 5.
Yeah. They didn't put it into the bad guys.
Guys don't need to move.
That's how they lose. They can't move. Yeah. Get you, Joe.
So, also 1976, Hasbro released a line of inexpensive, rationally molded mannequins in the G.I. Joe style called the Defenders. So these weren't really movable and with the articulation and stuff. They were just something that they brought out that was cheap, a little bit cheaper line than what the line was.
Okay. So wait, 1976 is the introduction of my favorite G.I. Joe that I saw out of all of these, and that's the Canadian Mountie.
Yeah.
Did you guys look at this guy?
The Canadian Mountie.
He's got so much detail to his everything that he's got. His suit, the red color, they researched the red color. He's got brass buttons. Like everything is like so detailed. The gun, it's just crazy. Has everything
Well,
I read to
they
him.
kept the detail with all the main figures, I guess, except for the bad guys.
Yeah, the bad guys, whatever. By the way, it's 21 movable parts on the.
Is it 21?
It's 21 movable parts. There may be only 19 points of articulation, but it's 21 movable parts, and that's what they have copyrighted or trademark or whatever. So.
Okay, all right. I know I saw 21 there somewhere.
Yeah. Even in today's standards, you're looking at maybe 21 to like 30 points of articulation. So you're not adding a ton between, from what 1970s to now.
And these are all banded, so you're looking at like how those are done. Yeah. So it's.
Well, if you go back to when they started out with the idea in '63, they had that artist mannequin, and they wanted to move it just like that artist mannequin that had all the movable, all the joints and everything there. So that's why they stuck with that. So because that's what really sold it was the articulation and stuff.
Right. I mean, just being able to set these things into different poses, like you can kneel him down and make him throwing a grenade. He can actually look like he's doing it correctly, not out of whack and
not looking like a green army man.
Yeah.
I personally think they were thinking about people like Nate when they did this. They want to be able to do that. Not it's like Funko who wears like, hey, here's your figure. How do you do photography with that?
Yeah, figure it out. Who cares? Yeah, you get the suit. Oh, the bad guys look like the old school superhero pose from the old Funko stuff. Yeah. That's where Funko got it from.
That's where they got it from. They were like, hey, I bet Reese was looking at those like, this is it. This is the design.
Yeah, this is it.
This is how it goes.
It's gonna make us so much money, guys. Just hear me out.
Okay, so the vehicles. Let's go with the vehicles real quick. They had a Jeep. The Jeep had a missile launcher type gun, which came with a trailer, and the trailer had a spotlight on it. There was the green one, the Army Drab green, and then they had a Desert Patrol Jeep, which was kind of a khaki tan color, and that one had a machine gun. They had a space capsule, which was pretty cool because the regular space capsule included a 45 record, which had a real Mercury space flight recording. So they actually took that recording from that that space flight and put it on a record and sold it with that.
So that's where the Spaceman comes from.
Yeah, that's where you do get a Spaceman. That one came out in 1966. So that's where the Spaceman comes from. Sears had an exclusive for this as well. But it didn't have a record, but it had a life raft and a flotation device collar for the capsule.
Wait. So you said the Spaceman came out in 1966. So what you're telling me is Mattel filmed the space or the moon landing, right? And then sold it to the government.
Yeah.
Or Hasbro.
Okay. Yeah, we're Hasbro, not Mattel. Sorry, Hasbro. All right, understand where we're at here.
Conspiracy confirmed.
Yeah, there you go. It was actually G.I. Joe in his astronaut suit.
So. There you go.
It's just crazy even looking at some of these variants, right? So I'm pulling up and I'm actually looking at the Action Man variants from 1970. Apparently, like I said, so instead of a military style fashion, you had Action Man in a kilt.
Yeah.
And I said for and
appealing
a kilt and a red beard.
Scottish fans.
Yeah.
Okay.
Argyle and the Southern Highlanders.
Yeah, they had the World Action Soldiers of the World that were pretty cool too.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where the Canadian Mountie comes in. Some of those.
Well, that one's you got the German, the Japanese, the Russian, French Resistance, the British Commando, and the Australian Jungle Fighter.
Yeah.
Well, see, there's your bad guys. You got the Japanese and the Russians. All the other guys can beat up on them, right?
Yeah.
Those kids matter too.
Right? We're moving close to the Cold War era. Yeah, they could definitely do that.
Right?
That's what they brought these in, and that's what some of the commercials and stuff I saw. They were using them as the bad guys. So.
I would imagine, yeah. Right? There's your subtle propaganda. Like, here, kid, you can have a Russian toy, but you gotta beat him up.
We might have to run a something at the end of this that says the ideas of the STS guys do not relate to it.
Well, I think that's a given. Our ridiculous ideas are always our own.
Right.
think we've labeled bad guys from every country at this point.
Mexico, Canada, not a bad guy. He does not take
The
sides.
Mounties not.
I
He
mean,
does
he
not
could
take
be
sides.
if you
What
had to
if
fight
you
somebody.
is-
You could pretend Canada's attacking America, and then
No,
you could
no,
be
no.
the bad guy.
So Canada becomes the bad guy. The Mountie becomes the bad guy when one of the Americans says something bad about hockey. Then he's like,
Oh, there you
"Oh, hey, I tell you,
Yeah.
There you go.
Hey, watch what you say there, eh?
Yeah.
don't make me come down there."
So sorry. So sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Nate.
I was gonna
Sorry,
say,
not
didn't you
that
say,
Nate. The other Nate.
yeah, didn't you say
Angry.
the other Nate checked on you and everything?
Yeah. The other Nate actually checked on me for electricity. He's like, "Is it cold down there?" And I'm like, "Look, we're in Texas. It's cold. Shut up, you Canadians."
Just because your country knows how to handle power and better than Texas.
They know how to handle all power, so we understand.
Yeah, it's all right.
So,
All
okay, so we talked about the space capsule. There was also a sea sled that came with a frogman. It was actually the first underwater vehicle. So these actually, you can actually go, it dives underwater. They ran on, I think, 3, it said Super D batteries, which I think there's probably D batteries here now.
So when you say frogman, you're just talking about somebody in a suit, not like Toad from X-Men, right?
No, not
Right.
like Toad. No.
Okay.
Yeah, just
Ray
a guy that wears flippers and
It's a
scuba diving
military
gear.
reference.
I was a little worried there.
So Sears had an exclusive on this as well. The Sears exclusive came with a cave that the sea sled can actually park into, and then it also had a silver marker buoy as well, so you can actually put the cave on the bottom of, say, your bathtub or whatever, and then put the marker buoy floating above it, so you know where it's at. You don't lose it.
All right.
So-
So the important
In your
question.
bathtub.
The important question: did the Sears exclusive have a sticker on the box?
I don't think it did.
This is
Oh no.
I don't know.
missed opportunity.
I don't know. Is it?
I'm sure it didn't.
You got the vintage 3D Joes up, Andrew. Look on.
I'm
that-
looking
I'm
looking
looking.
at the Canadian Mountie is a Sears exclusive.
Okay.
From in Canada, there's Sears and whatever, and I don't see a sticker on this box.
Okay.
I wonder if these were like the first store exclusive. Like, since it's the first
No.
action figure, like
Hold on.
You know.
So, hold on.
It may
The thing, the space capsule Sears one, it says on the front of it, Sears special flotation collar,
Okay.
laugh right, and or.
Okay.
there it is.
That's it. Then.
Right, confirmed.
Nailed it.
Funko based their entire business model off of G.I. Joe. Now I know.
I mean,
It's not a sticker. It's printed on there, but it's not a sticker.
Ah, same idea. No, stickers
Yeah.
were more expensive in the 60s. Stickers are like dirt cheap now. Like Sticker Mule, dirt cheap.
Yeah.
yeah, you're not printing a whole new box for people these days. You're just sticker it.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next thing was the Crash Crew fire truck. This came out in 1967. It actually had a water cannon that shot water 10 feet. So it really did shoot
Wow,
water.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then
Does it come out of your bathtub?
and then there's an extension ladder to it as well that stretched out to be 3 feet long. So I thought it was pretty cool that it actually shot the water 10 feet. So it had a real
That's what I'm thinking.
on it.
Yeah. I mean,
now-
that's a fun toy to play with.
Yeah.
The playability, that's a word, right? The playability is off the charts.
Oh yeah. So
So I think I have one of these. Hold on, Michael. I want to talk about this one real quick. I think I have it. I'm trying to pull it up so we can look at it. So is this the one you're talking about?
that's it. Yeah.
First off, that's a blue fire truck. So apparently fire trucks weren't red yet. And what the heck is that guy wearing?
He's
Is
got the fire suit.
it a radioactive fire?
Yeah, it's a fire
No,
suit.
that's what they wore back then before they got real fire suits. Yeah.
If we were
So he's
on our
basically
podcast,
just-
I'd say something else about it.
Yes, I know. We already got yelled at for Ghost Hitler and the Canadian guy. Yeah, let's not do that.
Yeah.
Use your imagination.
Like this is just ridiculous to me. Like
It is.
at
Is he
the
like a
front of the cover,
space?
what is this guy doing? Fire! I don't know what to do. I'm in a fire truck. I don't know what to do. Yeah, these are great.
No.
Okay,
Hold on.
Yeah.
back to as you were saying, Michael.
Yeah. Okay. So 1966. We're going back a year again. 1966, Hasbro made an agreement with Irwin Toys. And Irwin Toys were made of blow mold plastic. So they was kind of a cheaper plastic. But they made like other vehicles for G.I. Joe to ride in. They weren't really to scale, and they weren't as detailed as some of these other vehicles and the line itself. So there was a motorcycle with a sidecar. They had a staff car. They had an amphibious duck, which was a car that could it was a boat / car type thing. They had a personnel carrier that actually had a minesweeper on the front of it. There was a jet helicopter, which looked kind of funky with the it's kind of a one-man helicopter. And then there was a jet fighter plane, and they had an armored car as well. So these were just cheap little vehicles for G.I. Joe to ride in. They were kind of
not the bad guys.
It's a lot of them, though.
Yeah,
the bad guys. They don't get vehicles.
Yeah.
I solved the yellow. What am I talking about? I solved the weird silver fireman suit. Google fire proximity suit.
Okay.
It is a silver, like tinfoily looking suit that started in the 1930s. So yeah, made of asbestos fabric. That's awesome. I'm sure that worked out well for the firefighters. So that's definitely what they're going for. Fire.
I have seen like fire rescue units that actually when you open up the kit, it would have like a silver top aluminum foil thing that you cover up, and it keeps you from getting burnt or whatever. I guess.
Well, don't use them.
But I have seen that before.
Yeah. Ridiculous, but it was a thing.
So, Michael, real quick, how much more do you have? Because we got to talk about pricing. Because I do have some prices.
The only thing I got that's it. I got. I also wanted to say that 1978 was the last of the line, last year for the line. The Action Man line that was actually made by Palatoy in the UK. They went all the way to 1984 with theirs. So the 3 3/4 inch G.I. Joe was out by the time Palatoy was done with their line. But also in 2004, G.I. Joe was inducted into the National Toy Hall of Fame. So
right where it belongs.
It was kind of unanimous when they put it on the ballot. It was just so overwhelming that one had to be put into the Hall of Fame. So
absolutely, it's groundbreaking.
It's like when Tom Brady's name comes up on the list to go to the Hall of Fame. I mean, if I was in that room, I'd be like, no, not that guy, just as a joke, and then I'd get in trouble. But all right.
Also, real quick, Andrew, the original pricing for the GI Joes were between $3 and $4.
That's pricing. What I was about to say. Yeah. So these hit the shelves in 1964. And were approximately $4 is what I'm seeing, $4 a piece. Doing the math, that runs them at $33.76 in today's money, which, to be honest,
a little pricey
for a 12-inch toy. It's not bad. I mean, it is a little bit more. I wouldn't probably do more than like 20, 25.
Yeah, I guess for 12-inch, because like the Marvel Legends and that stuff are 6 inches, and they're $20, $25 depending on where you're buying them. So good point.
Yeah, there's really not a whole lot of 12-inch figures nowadays that I could even think to compare it to.
No, there's those really bad straight-armed superhero ones that like at Walmart and Target, the super cheapy ones that have no articulation. That's about it.
But I don't even know how much those run. Are those around 19?
I think they're probably like $12 for those 12 inches.
Yeah, they're really cheap.
Because they're just cheaply made. So
as far as how much these are worth today, if you see one for about $35, you should probably pick it up. Because the only thing I have for 2003, there was one. It was a Joe Toy Soldier from 1963 that sold on eBay for $200,000. I know there's some others that in there. I didn't look at prices on eBay, but obviously these are big collectors. So
Did I didn't have any. Did you guys? Anybody have one of these somehow?
No. They were fizzling out by the time I came around. So
And he's
But-
the oldest, so yeah.
I would definitely love to have some of these. I like them.
Where would you put them, John?
We'll get you those bad guys.
Where would I put them?
Yeah, where would you put them?
Yeah, on the shelf,
find
man.
You find a shelf somewhere around there.
I find a shelf. Maybe Yoda can move.
There you go. So yeah, I mean, prices. If you can find one for a good amount, if it's not torn up, or even just the accessories to it, maybe pick them up. So.
Well, I know they came out with. I would even like to have the commemoration ones they had that came out.
Yeah, they remade them, right?
Yeah.
So,
the early,
so be aware of fakes too.
2000s,
Yeah.
Beware of fakes. I'm sure there's ways that you can find how to tell if they're fake or they're not fake. So be sure.
But I guess they're not fake. They're just the reissued ones.
Right. You just have to read them.
Let's call them knockoffs. Well, I guess they're not knockoffs.
No, yeah, they're just
Like I said,
reissues. Right, reissue. They're not vaulted anymore.
And when they reissued the 12-inch line, they did bring out the names for. They look like the 3 3/4-inch Joes, like Duke and like Scarlet, all those guys. Yeah.
I did see like a 25th anniversary 12-inch Cobra Commander, because I was thinking like, why? I know they were no bad guys, especially with the original ones, except for those weird guys, but somebody should have made a Cobra Commander, and they did. So that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, before we do have some rounds of Toy Truths this week, but we need to rank these guys. So we'll go through and rank them for us real quick, and then we'll jump in and find out where these guys land for the STS guys on their, obviously toy list. So Michael, I know you're probably used to it, but we're gonna start with you.
Yeah. No, I didn't have any of these, but as iconic as these are, they're actually going to be up on my list. I'm going to put these at number 8 for me.
We got a number 8 for me. Yeah, we got a number 8. Yeah. So you are pushing Lego brick. Okay. Where's that button that kicks you off the podcast?
Lego is now out of my top 10.
Yeah, Lego is out of your top 10. So, all right, John, do you dare kick Star Wars out of your top 10?
Yeah, I actually do, because I think I'm more with the military part than I am the sci-fi. On that.
Well, you get both. We've established you get both with G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah, true. But I'm not going to kick Ghostbusters down, or the real Ghostbusters down, so I'm going to put mine at 10.
At number 10, a good old solid number 10 for you. Now, obviously, I don't remember these. When we start talking about the 3 3/4 line, they'll obviously be higher. I figure for all of us. For me, I'm going to put these at 11. They don't knock anything out of mine. I think it's a great start for toys, but I just don't have any real connection to them personally myself. So they do not drop Voltron out of my top 10. I couldn't do that. He's right back there watching me, so I'd probably get in trouble. So
I like how you brought him up with you.
Well, I had to have a few things. Everything else is in a box. Batman's here beside me. You can't see him. Voltron and a little Batman are back here. I had to have a few things, so I feel weird without them. All right, so Nate, where does this fall in for you for toys and stuff? So
yeah, I know we were talking about did we have one? And actually, I remember very early on, I did have a 12-inch Joe, and I think it was from my dad. He gave it to me, and we used to tie, paper towels with string and try to throw them up in the air and see if he would parachute down.
Well, they usually get parachutes that came with some of them that you could get in some of the packs and stuff. So that was something that was kind of probably normal for a kid that got one and they got that pack and be like, hey, we can throw it out, go and throw it in the air.
I think I did it the janky way because I didn't have the parachute one. So let me make my own and I'll tie him to it. And that way it kills him, because I've got it around his neck when it opens up. So it was never very successful. It ripped off a lot. But I do remember those figures, and they were the only 12-inch figures that I had. But they didn't really, they were really awesome, but I don't remember getting into them much after that. So I'd say in top 10 figures, probably not in my top 10 personally.
Okay. Larry, how about you? It's not a wrestling one, so
no, sure. No, same as Nate. I appreciate the history. I appreciate all of the things that they did for all the toys that we grew up with, including the 3 3/4-inch G.I. Joes. But yeah, definitely not in my top 10.
Larry? I mean, Jeremy.
Jeremy.
Oh, you said Larry.
Other Larry.
I said I actually
Larry
put this. Like I said in my top 10, but at dead last at number 10.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
because, like I said, it's like some like there's like a sense of like pure ridiculousness with some of them, but then some of them, like I said, they're actually really cool. Just because, like I said, you appreciate the scale of the props and the investment in the detail and things like this, and then just the historical value alone of like we wouldn't have, like I said, any of the other action figures that we have. I said if it weren't for the success of this Toyland. So
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, like we've
definitely belongs in
defined,
the top 10.
we wouldn't have Funko without these guys because they wouldn't have the figure, they wouldn't have details. We wouldn't have Funko toys without these. So yeah, I
all
go
of
with
it.
that. All right, we're gonna jump into our toy truths game. So for all those that are listening, you guys know how this plays. I'm gonna say some things. Michael's gonna beat John, and then we'll end the game. It'll be all good.
Yeah,
but
right.
hopefully this week we have the STS guys with us. So you guys all count as basically like one person. So whoever
Nice.
jumps in gets you guys a point if you guys win it. Let me share this so we can all take a look at it. We have 4 rounds. I already had this up, and then I had to close it down because I had to share that other thing. Let's see. There it is. Here is our board. So basically what I'll do is I'll read out these 3 statements. As soon as the third one pops up and you read it, you can buzz in inside of the private chat. I'm putting in the round 1 now, so I know the first person that buzzes in, or actually because of internet, you never know who's going to actually get to me first, who's going to press it first. So that's the way the internet works. So if you know what it is, all right, sorry.
Which one's
I guess
wrong?
So which one is wrong? So it's basically 2 truths and a lie, and you're trying to figure out what the falsity is here, what the lie is. So they're facts about G.I. Joe, about the 12-inch line. And then as we go through, if you were paying attention to our conversation, you probably got a lot of these. So, but there may be some tricky ones. Will I get a point? I don't know. We'll see. All right. So round 1, here we go. Statement 1. In 1967, Hasbro introduced its first female Joe, G.I. Nurse Action Girl. Number 2, in the United Kingdom, the line was licensed to Palitoy and known as Action Man. And statement number 3, Hasbro's Kung Fu grip was originally developed by Palitoy and called Fast Action Hands. Oh, Michael buzzed in first.
It was originally developed Palitoy called Fast. It's going to be the number 3 is wrong.
Number 3 is incorrect, and that's a point for Michael. John, that's not how this works. Come on.
I'm done.
Actually, that is how this works.
I hit my button.
Yeah.
Oh,
And even Jeremy came in.
Even Jeremy tried to get in there and beat you out. So, all right, here we go. Ready for round 2. Let's. Oh wait, no. So, Michael, do you know what they were called?
I don't remember what they were originally called. Yeah, I don't know if it was.
Hold on a second. We can go back and I can tell you what it is.
Yeah, I don't remember.
They're originally called Gripping Hands.
Gripping Hands. Okay.
Gripping Hands.
I know it wasn't Kung Fu Grip, but I knew that was. Yeah.
All right. So round number 2. Here is statement A. Because they thought the boys wouldn't play with dolls, Hasbro coined the word action figure to make the toy line, or to market the toy line. Statement 2. The development of G.I. Joe led to the coining of the term action figure, which is basically the same statement that I just realized. And statement 3, Hasbro added its Eagle Eye mechanism to another gimmick for movable eyes in 1976 and can be found on Eagle Eye Talking Astronaut and Eagle Eye Sea Adventurer. Looks like John buzzed in.
I did. It's 3.
It's number 3. That is the false one. Do you know why that's the false one?
Because you put it on too many of them.
Because the first 2 are right.
No.
The first 2 are right.
I don't know why that's wrong, but I know the other 2 are right.
Right. That's all that matters as long as you know.
We get a lot of that. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I do that a lot. I'm like, I know those 2. What's the third one? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So this one,
Eagle Eye was only on.
It was on 2 of them.
It-
It was on Eagle Eye Land Commander and Eagle Eye Man of Action,
Okay.
not the Talking Astronaut or Sea Adventurer. I think I made up the Talking Astronaut to be honest.
you're good at making up some of these. Yeah.
I mean, hey, I try to stump you as much as possible. So the points are currently Michael has 1 point, John has 1 point, and the guests have no points. And let's go
Hey,
round.
we're not representing.
That's all right. That's how it always works. Michael usually gets 90% of the points.
Yeah.
All right, round 3. The name G.I. Joe itself came from a 1945 American film called The Story of G.I. Joe. Stu. 2, the first G.I. Joe.
Oh,
You're on mute.
we lost you, Andrew.
They lost you.
There we go. Sorry. 3, based on the 6-wheeled Argo ATV, the Adventurer themed vehicle was originally developed as a vehicle for the new line of KGB action figures. Larry buzzed in first, so
Yeah.
Before Jeremy, are we allowed to consult with each other?
I would say that's
It's a team, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Y'all
it's
are
a
a
team.
team.
So yeah, y'all go ahead.
y'all-
Jeremy, do you think it's number 3? Because I think it's number 3. Okay, it's
Yes.
number
All right, we're
3.
gonna go with
Final,
number 3.
final answer.
It is number 3. Do you know why that's?
Because the first 2 are right.
I
That's our
made this
default
up.
answer now.
It was the 6-wheeled Argo. It was there. They made it, but it wasn't for KGB action figures. I don't know. I made that up.
Oh, I should
I was
have.
trying to give them.
It
I
was
was
for
trying to give
Ghost.
them a bad guy early. Yeah, it was for
It
Ghost
was for
Hitler.
Ghost Hitler.
We're
Or the
getting so
Chrome
much
Klansman.
There goes Larry again.
Yeah. It was a fire proximity suit, Jeremy. A fire proximity
So,
suit.
so whoever gets this point wins the episode. So
Oh, baby.
remember that.
Oh,
Okay.
Round 4, statement 1. Bullet Man was added to the line in 1967 to compete with the superhero toy craze. 2, the Mountie was a Canadian exclusive and is still available. Jeremy already buzzed in. It is still available at Simpson Sears stores in the Great North. And 3, G.I. Joe has a scar across his right cheek, allowing Hasbro to copyright them since the human figure can't be copyrighted. And Jeremy, what do you say?
I'm going to consult with my team. I think it's number 1.
I'm thinking number 2 because there's no
thinking
way
number
it's
2.
still available at Sears.
No, I was thinking number 2.
I'm thinking number 1.
Okay, well, you buzzed in. I will let you.
What number 1? Number 1.
You want number 1? Number 1 is correct. It is a
So
true statement. So Michael,
I'm gonna go with number 2.
number 2
Being
is
false.
the false, and it is not still available.
So I thought Bullet Man was introduced later, like in 1974, not 1967.
So this is where we get interesting about some of the toy facts. Michael finds little details about things and where we.
I got 1975 for Bullet Man.
I had 67 where I found it on somewhere on Wikipedia is where I pulled this one because I pulled this one early.
Where's that article at? I'll go and change it.
I'm gonna verify that, but for this, we're just gonna go and say that STS guys win this point. Because I'm a nice guy, and I don't want to give Michael a point.
It's
yeah, he doesn't want Michael to win.
I knew number 2 was wrong, but
Yeah.
number 1, Bullet Man wasn't until 1975 is what I got.
I'm gonna look that up. I'm gonna leave it up, and I'm gonna look that up and find out where I found that, and then we'll post it with this whole story that I was wrong.
According to this Hasbro Toys 1976 catalog, I think Jeremy's right.
Yeah.
Well, there we go.
I'm thinking
So
that too.
these do come in really. Maybe I put that one as a false and forgot I put it as a false.
It's okay. And then you
I
just
had
had fun
the-
with the Canadian one.
I just had fun with getting it. So I did start doing all of these, knowing that you guys were coming on. I started getting all these like 3 weeks ago.
Mhm.
So I might have forgotten
I think
that.
he skipped 2 other. He didn't do Toy Truths for 2 of them, and
Yeah.
he was so busy working on this one.
You know,
And you only
It's
got four questions.
Yeah, you only got 4
You
rounds.
4 rounds out of 3
Hey,
weeks of
Michael,
prep.
John, it's been a week. Okay, it's
There
been
you
a
go.
week.
Full circle. Full circle.
Full circle, all the way back around. I need to pull up my notes again because I don't know where we're at. To be honest, we're just kind of running with this.
All right.
I feel like we're doing the same thing you guys do.
So,
All right, here we
Winging
go.
it. Winging
shout
it.
out.
You
Yeah.
wing everything.
Yeah.
The guests are getting a point for this.
right.
So there we go. So all right, one of the STS guys, give us let us know where everybody can find you guys. I mean, obviously you guys are on lives and do all that.
Oh, yeah.
Where can everybody find you guys?
So if you're not familiar with STS Guys, we're a weekly pop culture podcast. We record live on Twitch and Facebook and YouTube every Saturday night at 8 p.m. Pacific. Right, we talk about a little bit of everything. like talk about Marvel movies like WandaVision or other Netflix shows, or we've really kind of hit our sweet spot during this quarantine with a lack of content. We just kind of talk about whatever's going on. So like with a little WandaVision sprinkled in right now. So it's just a good time. So come hang out. You can also find our podcast if you want to join the live or anywhere you listen to podcasts like Spotify or iTunes. We're there. Just search STS Guys. And if you want, you can find us on Instagram at STS Guys, and we're on Twitter at STS Guys, and we're also on Facebook at the STS Guys, and I am Larry from the STS Guys.
Wow.
Showing like a villain.
I feel like you guys have done that 100 and some odd times.
160
Well, let's be clear.
sometimes.
Larry has done that about 160 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have a question about your timing, and because everybody asks, like when I'm like, "Hey, we're doing this at this time," or "We're doing a live at this time," or whatever, and they're like, "What time is that Pacific?" Why does everybody go off Pacific time?
Because it doesn't sound as good as 10 p.m. Central. It's
I think that's why, or Eastern, because Eastern's always so much later.
Well, Eastern,
And then
Yeah.
if it cross,
Nobody
it might
cares.
cross midnight. Yeah.
Nobody cares about those Eastern guys.
I
I'm
don't
just
know.
curious, like, because I'm like, wait, what time is that in Central Time? And then I got to think about it. That's why I don't do time zones.
I know
Well-
it's usually right before I get home, or I get home and then they're going on, so I'll go and kind of seclude myself after I get home
Luckily-
from work.
Luckily, I'm either followed or subscribed or whatever, and I get notifications. Now, whether I get
Yeah.
whether I get to jump on and interact, that's
It's okay.
another system. But
But see, so it gets even more complicated, right? Arizona doesn't change times
Right.
at the time change. They just stay at the same time. So half the year they're on Pacific, and half the year they're on Mountain. So it's
See.
even more confusing. But yeah, for some reason, I don't know. Like one place I worked at, our default was always Pacific. So maybe that's where me personally, that's kind of where I picked it up from. It's just easier to do everything off Pacific.
see, I would have just been like, we're doing this off Arizona time because it doesn't change.
Yeah, but
Always
that's
the same.
super confusing.
Hopefully soon that'll all go away. We won't have time change anymore because I hate those things.
That would be
So
amazing.
stupid. So, all right. Well, that's where you can find the SDS guys. These is obviously we're missing Scott tonight, but
Scott's out sick.
he's out sick. Hopefully he
That's
doesn't have the
another one.
COVIDs. Yeah, make sure you're checking them out. They got some great stuff. Larry's always pulling new things out of his toy boxes that he's got collecting. Nate's doing his toy box collection or his pictures, photography. That's the word that I'm trying to figure out.
And epic toy collection,
And epic toy. Yes, great.
right? Because in order to take good pictures, you have to have a nice variety of figures, which Nate has an
True.
amazing collection.
Oh my gosh!
Thank you, Larry.
Yeah, we're going to talk more about that tomorrow night. We will have already talked about that by the time people hear this. And so yeah, be sure you're checking them out. John, give us run through our socials one more time.
So our
We'll give them
website,
all
toyrewindpodcast.com, Instagram and Twitter at Toy Rewind Podcast. Check us out on Facebook. We're on Twitch, YouTube, and then of course check out the podcast bingo if you want to listen again to see if you got any bingos. Podcastbingo.com/Toy Rewind, and then you can email us toyrewindpodcast@gmail.com.
And then, like I mentioned, be sure you check out Geek Together and follow them on their Twitch because that's where we're going to be doing our toy collector showcases. Well, I hope we'll be doing our toy collector showcases there because once they're hearing this, hopefully we haven't been canceled. I've seen that
After the first
canceled
one?
after the first episode.
Like-
So hopefully.
But are you going to
cancel
be? Are you going to be recast? You think like
I don't.
like
I don't
if
know.
you guys don't do a good job at this, like Damon's going to be like, maybe we can get somebody else in on it.
Yeah, if we're not on episode 2 or 3, that's because we've been recast, and that's a new thing. So
I think that's more of an option than not being there all the time because it's a good idea, but I don't know how good we are.
I mean, I
We'll
can't
see.
guarantee that we're not already niching towards the bad side because we missed the first week because of winter weather storms.
I mean, you
So,
didn't have power, so
It's not our fault, but at
Yeah.
the same time, I don't know if it necessarily looks good.
So,
So, you
technically-
mentioned- Oh, sorry. You mentioned
Monday-
bingo. You mentioned bingo. I just wanted to say shout out to your mom.
Yes,
There
shout
you
out to
go.
my look. Check
Shout
out
out
this
to Mom.
quilt that my mom made on my bed. Yes, shout out to my mom, and shout out to Dad too because that's a separate bingo one.
There you go.
He doesn't get nearly as many shout outs as mom does. All right. Let's run. So obviously with all of that, if you're listening to us, we always shout out to our Nerd Unite community. Obviously the STS guys, and Geek Together, who we've talked about a few times, but the Nerd Unite, the Average Nerd Podcast, the Four Dorks Men, the Three Beers and a Mic, Nerdy Curious, Nerd Portraits, Movie Retakes, Totally Rad Movie Podcast, which I assume is not dead.
It's not dead yet.
It's not dead yet.
It's not dead yet. And then Secondary Heroes. If you are watching WandaVision, check out the Secondary Heroes. They're doing a great job of going episode by episode and just tearing into the episode. I know you guys are talking about it a little bit too, but they rip those episodes apart. Prog's great at that and getting stuff out there.
Just the detail he finds, you know.
Oh yeah. And I can't wait. Like, I watched the episode and then I'm like, why have they not released? Oh, it's still Friday and they haven't recorded yet. I'm like, come on. So obviously with that, if you're looking for somebody to watch that just eludes positivity or exudes or whatever the word is, check out Sully over on Twitch, twitch.tv/CSS Sully. So check him out. And I guess with that, anything anybody wants to add before we sign out?
Just thanks for having us on.
Yeah, thank you guys. This was awesome.
Yeah, appreciate you guys joining us. Yeah,
hopefully next time we're gonna have the STS guys on again when we talk about the 3 3/4 inch line. We are gonna make sure that Scott is on with that and he's not sick because he had a USS flag, and I know that's going to be a huge part of conversation. So that'll happen. And so I guess with that, on behalf of the Brothers Newland here at the Toy Rewind podcast, and I'm going to throw you guys in, and the STS guys, play on. Oh, wait, I forgot to do the. Here we go. Play on. There we go.
Okay, there we go.
You've been listening to the Toy Rewind podcast. Follow and join in the conversations at toyrewindpodcast.com.